This world is filled with countless mutants possessing extraordinary superpowers. Some can fly, others have superhuman hearing, and some can control electricity, and Jang Hee Soo is one of them. She possesses the ability to heal herself from wounds. Jang Hee Soo inherited this special power from her father, but she doesn't find joy in it. She always has to hide her identity. If her extraordinary ability were revealed, she would face discrimination and be pushed into danger. Therefore, from a young age, Jang Hee Soo wandered everywhere with her father, never staying in one place for too long. Jang Hee Soo's father worked various jobs to earn money to support her. One day, he decided to live a stable life so his daughter could attend university. He bought a small house and worked as a miner nearby. Now, Jang Hee Soo no longer had to constantly change schools. Everything was peaceful until the start of the new semester. Jang Hee Soo's class had a new transfer student. She was rich and shy. Because of this, she was bullied and exploited by a group of mean girls. The whole class knew about it, but no one spoke up because they didn't want to affect their upcoming exams. Seeing the injustice, Jang Hee Soo reported it to the teacher, but that only made the bullies even more arrogant. The class president spoke up to intervene and was beaten within an inch of his life. Jang Hee Soo deeply regretted dragging the class president into this. She really wanted to apologize to the class president, but she didn't have the courage. And then the bullies' audacity reached her limit. In front of the entire school, Jang Hee Soo took on 17 bullies alone. Jang Hee Soo didn't know pain. She fought them furiously. The ringleader seemed to have realized Jang Hee Soo's strangeness. She trembled and swung a knife at Jang Hee Soo. But what was shocking was that Jang Hee Soo's wound healed instantly. And that was when Jang Hee Soo knew she was not like ordinary people. The battle ended with Jang Hee Soo's victory. After that incident, Jang Hee Soo was expelled. Her father had to sell their house to compensate, and he had to pay a very large settlement fee to prevent the other students' parents from reporting to the police. Because Jang Hee Soo was not injured, she was accused of bullying other children. At this time, Jang Hee Soo's father told his daughter that she inherited that ability from him, and her see injustice and can't stand it personality was like her mother. The father did not blame Jang Hee Soo, but was happy that his daughter was strong and kind. Finally, they chose Jangwon School as their new destination because only Jangwon School accepted students with a history of school violence. Jang Hee Soo and her father moved to live nearby for her convenience to go to school, while her father opened a small fried chicken shop. On her way to school, Jang Hee Soo's bus card ran out of money. Fortunately, a boy helped her. That boy's name was Kim Bong-seok. He is also a second-generation mutant, like Jang Hee Soo. Kim Bong-seok has the ability to fly and superhuman senses. Seeing the beautiful Jang Hee Soo in front of him, he couldn't control his emotions, causing Kim Bong-seok's body to float in the air. He had to try very hard to make his body touch the ground. Kim Bong-seok still couldn't control his abilities, so he could only wear weights to school every day, which would help him not to float away. Because of this, Kim Bong-seok couldn't run fast. He was often late for school and was punished by cleaning the toilets. Before the homeroom teacher introduced Jang Hee Soo to the class, he had guided her towards her future path. Because Jang Hee Soo has superior physical strength, the teacher encouraged her to apply to a university of physical education. He also assured her that she would be allowed to use the gym alone to practice. Jang Hee Soo was very grateful to her homeroom teacher. When she was accepted into the sports university, she still had school to attend, and Jang Hee Soo's father didn't have to worry about tuition fees. Kim Bong-seok knew that the beautiful girl he saw this morning was his deskmate, so he couldn't control himself and just wanted to fly. Besides Kim Bong-seok and Jang Hee Soo, the third superpowered individual of the second generation is the class president Lee Kang-hoon. Only Lee Kang-hoon knew about the existence of another superpowered individual because he and Jang Hee Soo had similar abilities. Lee Kang-hoon really wanted to befriend her, and then the appearance of a mysterious person disrupted the peaceful lives of the superhumans. The first on the list to be dealt with was Jin Chan. He was a retired first-generation superhuman with extraordinary physical strength, but he was ultimately thrown from a tall building and died on the spot. Kim Bong-seok's mother intentionally opened a fried pork restaurant far from residential areas, but because the food there was so delicious, it still had regular customers. Kim Bong-seok's mother's income was enough to support herself and her son. Jang Hee Soo's father was preparing to open a fried chicken restaurant. Although this was a difficult period, he still tried to provide the best for his daughter. Lee Kang-hoon's parents owned a small grocery store, and every day, the father would wait outside for Lee Kang-hoon to return from school. Jin Chan's incident served as a warning about the approaching danger to the mutant family. Information about Jin Chan's mysterious death was taken down by the National Security Planning Agency. Although the Deputy Chief of Staff did not know what was happening to prevent an incident, he still accelerated the progress of the new mutant breeding program. Kim Bong-seok's childhood was not much different from Jang Hee Soo's, but his mother's life was much more miserable. Because Kim Bong-seok's abilities were already very prominent when he was a child, his mother always had to carry him on her back and cling to him tightly. After that, Kim Bong-seok's mother found a warehouse in a relatively deserted place. One day, the butcher looked at Kim Bong-seok on her back with sympathy. Kim Bong-seok's mother thought she was insulting her son until she saw the butcher's mentally disabled son. Only then did Kim Bong-seok's mother realize she had misunderstood. Feeling guilty, she turned back to apologize to the butcher. The butcher advised her to let Kim Bong-seok grow up on his own. That way, the boy would mature. From that day on, Kim Bong-seok's gradually she learned that emotions would affect her son's abilities, so she smiled at him less. When Kim Bong-seok was 8 years old, his mother bought a house and opened a fried meat restaurant. Every day after school, Kim Bong-seok always had to go straight home, his only friend. At that time, it was Thunderman. Kim Bong-seok, like other children his age, also wanted to become a hero, and he used his powers to show off in front of his friends. The praise made him very happy, but because of that, another child imitated Kim Bong-seok. Unfortunately, that boy was seriously injured, causing Kim Bong-seok to be scolded by his mother. Kim Bong-seok was so sad that he went to the rooftop to cry. Unfortunately, he was blown away by the wind. Fortunately, his mother discovered him in time and saved her son. Afterwards, she deeply regretted it, and from that day on, Kim Bong-seok no longer floated. At this time, Kim Bong-seok was sad because he didn't meet Jang Hee Soo today, when he suddenly saw her wearing a raincoat running fast on the street. But in the end, both of them were late for school. Kim Bong-seok was also bumped into by Jang Hee Soo, injuring his elbow. Therefore, the homeroom teacher punished both of them to stay and clean. In another development, the mysterious man went to an old bookstore, and as soon as he entered, he slammed the door shut. Bong Pyong sensed something was wrong, so he immediately turned his photo with his son face down. He was an electric person, and also a first-generation mutant. But it wasn't difficult for the assassin to disable the electric power. He just needed to pull the circuit breaker. Afterward, Bong Pyong took batteries to recharge. As Bong Pyong drew energy from the batteries, the electricity elsewhere suddenly became unstable. Immediately, the two engaged in battle. While the mysterious man was recovering, Bong Pyong quickly burned the photo of him and his son. However, besides superior physical strength, the mysterious man also possessed regenerative abilities. At that moment, Bong Pyong's son felt an unusual sense of unease. It was also when his father left this world. Although his face was burned, the mysterious assailant still had clues to find Bong Pyong's next generation. Back at school, Bo Gum was still confronting Lee Kang-hoon. Lee Kang-hoon saw him secretly following Jang Hee Soo, so Lee Kang-hoon immediately pursued him. Lee Kang-hoon and Bo Gum went into the woods behind the school. Bo Gum wanted to beat Lee Kang-hoon, but in the end he broke his leg and passed out on the spot. Although Jang Hee Soo and Lee Kang-hoon have similar abilities, their capabilities are different. Jang Hee Soo excels in stamina, while Lee Kang-hoon excels in explosive power. Since Jang Hee Soo hadn't bought her gym uniform yet, she borrowed Kim Bong-seok's clothes, and only then did she learn his name. When Kim Bong-seok heard Jang Hee Soo call his name, his heart felt like it would fly out of his chest. It was almost time for evening self-study, and when the homeroom teacher asked about Bo Gum, Lee Kang-hoon lied, saying he had asked to leave early. Lee Kang-hoon had wanted to talk to Jang Hee Soo many times, but she and Kim Bong-seok were too close, leaving Lee Kang-hoon no opportunity. At the same time, news of another mutant's death worried Jang Hee Soo's and Kim Bong-seok's parents. During self-study, Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok sneaked out to a convenience store, and both opened up more about themselves. Jang Hee Soo didn't have a mother, and Kim Bong-seok didn't have a father. While talking, they happened to see Bo Gum leaving school in pain, which surprised Kim Bong-seok. Bo Gum was a bully in class, but who had beaten him to this extent. Bo Gum also wanted to go to the University of Physical Education, but unfortunately he was injured and gave up. After that, Bo Gum became reckless. He feared no one, not even the teachers. At this moment, Kim Bong-seok suddenly thanked Jang Hee Soo for the meal, but she replied that she was the one who should thank Kim Bong-seok. She had friends. At this time, Kim Bong-seok said that he didn't have friends before, while Jang Hee Soo didn't have friends because she had just moved to a new school. But what was surprising was that someone as beautiful as Jang Hee Soo actually didn't have friends. The two had many things in common, which made them closer. Jang Hee Soo still hadn't told her father about her decision to study physical education. Kim Bong-seok advised her to tell her father sooner. At first he would worry, but he would definitely support her completely. That's what his mother had told him. When self-study class ended, it was time for Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok to clean up. Lee Kang-hoon was a little annoyed, so he reminded them. He even pouted and said the two of them were really compatible. Jang Hee Soo naively replied that they were compatible because both their families ran restaurants and neither of them had friends. But she didn't know that Lee Kang-hoon was the same. While cleaning up, Jang Hee Soo noticed the wound on Kim Bong-seok's hand. Feeling guilty, she helped him apply ointment and put on a bandage. That innocent act made Kim Bong-seok fly up again, soaking all his clothes. When Jang Hee Soo returned home, remembering Kim Bong-seok's advice, she decided to tell her father about her plans. Initially, she was reprimanded by her father, but after learning that his daughter made such a decision out of concern for him, Jang Hee Soo's father was very touched that his daughter had grown up. The next day, Bong-gum took a leave of absence. Kim Bong-seok wanted to tell the homeroom teacher that Bong-gum had been beaten, but Jang Hee Soo stopped Kim Bong-seok. Jang Hee Soo advised Kim Bong-seok not to worry about other people's business. The next day, Jang Hee Soo continued her morning run in the yard until evening. Seeing her struggle, Lee Kang-hoon wanted to give Jang Hee Soo water, but then decided against it. Kim Bong-seok was still cleaning on this side, but when he saw Jang Hee Soo running in the dark, Kim Bong-seok turned on all the lights to illuminate the yard. However, because of this, Kim Bong-seok returned home late. His mother was surprised to learn that Kim Bong-seok was late because he was helping a friend. She wondered when her son had made a friend. The mysterious person in the photo had come to Jungwon's school. The security guard found the person suspicious and called someone. The next day, Jang Hee Soo practiced with her homeroom teacher, so she ate lunch late, and there wasn't much food left. Fortunately, Kim Bong-seok left some food for her. A little later, the homeroom teacher asked Lee Kang-hoon to go to the gym to turn on the ventilation fan for Jang Hee Soo. Lee Kang-hoon was about to leave when she arrived. As the place was usually empty, Jang Hee Soo naively changed her clothes on the spot. This embarrassed Lee Kang-hoon, so he could only wait for her to finish practicing before daring to leave. While Jang Hee Soo was practicing her dance, she fell. Lee Kang-hoon intended to rush over, but he was a step too late. Kim Bong-seok, who was nearby, flew to her first. Lee Kang-hoon was surprised to see this. Jang Hee Soo was also surprised to see Kim Bong-seok suddenly appear, but she didn't think much of it. Later, Jang Hee Soo asked Kim Bong-seok to hold her legs while she did sit-ups. Her breath kept hitting his face, making it difficult for him to stay calm. Kim Bong-seok's butt kept going up and down, and eventually, Kim Bong-seok flew over Jang Hee Soo's head. He was confused and didn't understand what was happening. The cleaner arrived. They both had to leave, so they put the matter aside. At this moment, Lee Kang-hoon emerged. He angrily left a handprint on the wall and walked away. The next day, Jang Hee Soo saw a new pair of shoes. She knew her father was encouraging her. During practice, Jang Hee Soo recalled Kim Bong-seok's incident from yesterday, so she pulled him out of the study group. Afterward, Jang Hee Soo pretended to have forgotten her shoes and asked him to go back to the classroom to get them for her. Shortly after Kim Bong-seok left, Jang Hee Soo followed him. His footprints disappeared as soon as he reached the hallway. She immediately remembered the strange things she had seen. Jang Hee Soo confusedly called out to Kim Bong-seok, but it turned out he had taken off his shoes so as not to dirty the floor. Jang Hee Soo voiced her suspicions. Kim Bong-seok was so scared he broke out in a sweat he just gave a wry smile to brush it off. Unexpectedly, as soon as he took off his backpack, Jang Hee Soo immediately came to help him put on a bandage. That unexpected action caught Kim Bong-seok off guard, and he started flying. Jang Hee Soo tried to give Kim Bong-seok the backpack, but it was too heavy, so she bravely jumped and successfully pulled him down. Even though Kim Bong-seok had the backpack, his emotions were still unstable. Seeing this, Jang Hee Soo had to use her body weight to hold him down. But out of shyness, Kim Bong-seok pushed Jang Hee Soo away. However, if Jang Hee Soo hadn't held Kim Bong-seok, he would have flown away. Jang Hee Soo didn't know what else to do, so in the end, she had to hold on to Kim Bong-seok the entire way. Kim Bong-seok's mother saw her son bring a friend home for the first time, and that friend was an extremely beautiful girl. Kim Bong-seok's mother was so surprised that she didn't know how to react. She kept praising Jang Hee Soo so much that the girl became embarrassed. After that, Kim Bong-seok's mother treated her to a huge meal. Jang Hee Soo was very surprised when she saw the food. Elsewhere, the mysterious man went to a hair salon in a commercial building. Initially, the owner was chatting happily until he asked if her child studied at Jungwon. Naju immediately entered a combat-ready state. Naju's abilities are clairvoyance and sharpshooting. The mysterious man was extremely miserable because no matter where he hid, Naju could see him. Naju also hid guns everywhere in the shop. However, the mysterious man had the ability to heal himself, so it was only a matter of time before Naju was defeated. Naju said he was just second generation, and Wu Gangbo would kill him. Until his death, Naju did not reveal anything about his children. The mysterious man did not understand why these people tried so hard to hide their children. On this side, Jang Hee Soo called her father to inform him that she would be late. At this time, he received an order at a commercial building in the neighborhood. On this side, Jang Hee Soo had not finished her fried pork when Kim Bong-seok's mother brought out a large plate of apples. At this time, a customer arrived. Jang Hee Soo asked for permission to go upstairs to change. After that, she still tried to finish Kim Bong-seok's mother's plate of apples. Finally, Jang Hee Soo apologized for testing Kim Bong-seok's abilities. Hearing this, Kim Bong-seok showed her the weights on his legs and his special room. Kim Bong-seok couldn't control his abilities, so whenever he lost control, he would recite pi to calm himself down. Hearing this, Jang Hee Soo said she hadn't seen him in a while. But every time she met Kim Bong-seok, she saw him reciting pi a lot. She wondered if he liked her. Who would have thought that Jang Hee Soo's teasing would make Kim Bong-seok fly straight to the ceiling? There was a loud noise. Kim Bong-seok's mother quickly laughed and said that her house was under repair. She didn't know what her son was doing up there. Kim Bong-seok wondered why Jang Hee Soo wasn't as surprised as he expected. Because since he was little, Kim Bong-seok had found himself very strange. But Jang Hee Soo thought Kim Bong-seok was just more special than others. These words made Kim Bong-seok and his mother very happy. It was late. Kim Bong-seok walked Jang Hee Soo part of the way and then turned back. Kim Bong-seok's mother saw this and scolded him for not being thoughtful. Then, she gave Kim Bong-seok a raincoat and told him to quickly chase after Jang Hee Soo. But this time, Kim Bong-seok feared she would get on the bus before him, so he quickly flew over. Finally, Kim Bong-seok caught up with Jang Hee Soo, making her very happy. At the same time, the mysterious person left the hair salon and encountered Jang Hee Soo's father, delivering fried chicken. At this moment, they knew nothing about each other. The mysterious person gave directions to Jang Hee Soo's father and left. Returning to Kim Bong-seok, he had recently been having a recurring dream about his father. Kim Bong-seok didn't know if it was a dream or a memory, but he had never seen his father's face clearly. Today is Saturday, but Kim Bong-seok still went to school. He made up an excuse about attending extra classes to train with Jang Hee Soo. The two also discovered a strange handprint on the wall. They didn't know whose it was, so they ignored it. All afternoon, Kim Bong-seok just watched Jang Hee Soo train without learning anything. Seeing this, Jang Hee Soo threatened to tell Kim Bong-seok's mother, which scared him. Suddenly, Jang Hee Soo offered to tell him a secret of hers. She said that she had fought with 17 aggressive female students. And Jang Hee Soo also revealed that she had the ability to heal very quickly. Kim Bong-seok thought she was joking when he heard that. But after seeing Jang Hee Soo's serious expression, Kim Bong-seok also believed her. After hearing her story, Kim Bong-seok understood why she wasn't too surprised by his abilities. The next day, Jang Hee Soo's father went to collect the payment for last night's fried chicken. As he passed by Na Ju's crime scene, he noticed the camera there had been destroyed, similar to the previous two cases. To investigate, Jang Hee Soo's father intentionally performed a few small actions. He wanted to know which unit the person sent to investigate belonged to. After Jang Hee Soo's father learned they were from the National Intelligence Service, he immediately left. Kim Bong-seok's mother also came to the crime scene to find out. She had the ability to see from afar and found Jang Hee Soo's father very familiar. All three victims were retired superhumans. The deputy chief of staff of the security bureau also realized that someone had sent people to deal with them. They were all operatives on covert missions sanctioned by the United States. Although the operatives were retired, they remained as living proof, which is why they were being hunted and killed. Instead of stopping them to protect the others, the Deputy Chief of Staff wanted to see how many people the mysterious killer would take down. On the day of Na Ju's funeral, the mysterious killer also attended. He also revealed his name to be Frank. Frank came with the intention of killing Na Ju's next generation. However, her biological child had died long ago, and the children present at the funeral were orphans she had adopted. Frank suddenly asked if she was a good mother. When he received a nod from Na Ju's son, his mood immediately changed. Meanwhile, Section Chief Kim, who was also the principal of Jangwon High School, was summoned to the National Security Agency. He had been in charge of the Deputy Chief of Staff's talent development project for 10 years. Today, Deputy Chief of Staff Song Gu called Section Chief Kim to remind him to protect the project data well in the current unstable situation and wait for the right time to process it. At Bong Pyong's funeral, the victim's body was sent to the National Forensic Service for investigation. Therefore, Bong Pyong's body was only brought to the morgue now. Only Bong Pyong's son was present at the funeral. He was still clutching the battery his father had used in battle. At the same time, a new female student transferred to the school. A female student named Hee Won, who had been bullied at Jang Hee Soo's old school. Going back to the past, during an electricity class, due to high humidity, no one could generate electricity except the boy Jang Gai-do. Jang Gai-do was the second-generation mutant of Bong Pyong. The year Jang Gai-do was in middle school was also the first year the homeroom teacher taught at Jongwon School. Because Jang Gai-do's physical examination results were not good, the teacher advised him to choose a profession related to the entertainment industry. Therefore, after Jang Gai-do graduated, he went to the Thunderman audition to try his luck. Initially, Jang Gai-do was a little shy, so he didn't impress the judges because Jang Gai-do didn't want to lose the opportunity to work. You used your powers. With that excellent performance, Jang Gai-do got the job. Everything was going smoothly until Jang Gai-do was about to go on stage. He accidentally discovered his rubber glove had a hole, but he reluctantly continued to perform. However, while Jang Gai-do was performing, the electromagnetism from his hands damaged the stage lights. This incident scared the children and made them cry loudly. This wasn't the first time he had damaged the producer's equipment, so this time, they decided to fire Jang Gai-do. On the same day, Jang Gai-do's mother passed away from illness. Ever since Jang Gai-do started middle school, his father had not been with him and his mother, but he had always silently supported their expenses. Bong Pyong told his son that he had retired and opened a bookstore. Bong Pyong hoped that he would visit him from Ming occasionally. From that day on, Jang Gai-do started applying for jobs everywhere, but no one hired him. Each battery was like a tape recording memories. As his mother always visited Jang Gai-do, the battery in the padlock held memories of her. Jang Gai-do brought a battery to his father. The life of an electrician was difficult, but Jang Gai-do never regretted being his son. One day, while Jang Gai-do was drunk, he came across a bus that had run out of battery. Jang Gai-do transformed into a thunderous superhero and began to power the bus. To the driver's surprise, thanks to Jang Gai-do, the bus was able to continue operating. The driver was very grateful for his enthusiastic help and introduced Jang Gai-do to the transport company. From then on, Jang Gai-do became attached to the job of driving a bus. One day, he received sad news from a colleague. The battery pack of Jang Gai-do's father contained his memories before he died, which helped Jang Gai-do discover the face of the person who killed his father. Today, during mealtime, Bo Gum came to provoke Lee Kang-hoon. Bo Gum poured leftover food onto Lee Kang-hoon's meal. Bo Gum also challenged Lee Kang-hoon to hit him. Lee Kang-hoon also whispered that he would tell everyone Lee Kang-hoon's secret. Kim Bong-seok, with his superpower, heard these words but didn't understand them. Lee Kang-hoon remained silent, trying to restrain himself from punching the bastard. At this moment, Jang Hee Soo arrived at the gym and saw Lee Kang-hoon there. She knew that Lee Kang-hoon was restraining himself, not that he was afraid to fight back. Jang Hee Soo had been in that situation before, so she understood that violence was the easiest, but also the most foolish way. She thanked Lee Kang-hoon for turning on the ventilation fan for her. Lee Kang-hoon shyly thanked her for the glasses, but she told him he didn't need to thank her, because Kim Bong-seok was the one who cleaned them for him. Lee Kang-hoon said his family also had a store and ran away, leaving Jang Hee Soo wondering what was going on. Meanwhile, the National Security Agency had investigated and identified Frank. He was Korean. The nickname Frank means sixth child. His mother was Korean, and his father was an American serving in the military. A CIA agent brought Frank to the US and erased his memory. This time, Frank returned to Korea on a mission. Hearing this, Deputy Chief of Staff Min Young-jun immediately called the American advisor. He bluntly exposed this person's identity as a CIA agent, even though the country no longer cared about the old mutant generation. It turns out Min Young-jun still wanted the American advisor to handle Frank before he could harm the alliance between the two countries. The American advisor had to compromise with Min Young-jun. First, he would temporarily stop Frank from acting, because after reporting to his superiors, the mission would be completely canceled, and to ensure that Min Young-jun had contacted the Chinese Ministry of State Security. On this side, Kim Bong-seok wanted to cheer Jang Hee Soo up, so he created a playlist for her to listen to while she practiced. When self-study ended, he returned to the physical education room and discovered his phone was dead. Kim Bong-seok quickly said goodbye to Jang Hee Soo and hurried home because his mother would be very worried if she couldn't reach him. At the same time, Frank received orders to kill another agent, the fried chicken shop owner. At the same time, Jang Hee Soo's father, worried about his daughter's safety, bought her a new phone so she could call him anytime. At this moment, Frank arrived at the fried meat shop. Kim Bong-seok's mother knew who he was, but pretended to be normal. While preparing food, she took the opportunity to text Kim Bong-seok telling him not to come home because his phone was dead. Kim Bong-seok knew nothing about this. He even walked faster, afraid his mother would worry. Before he could greet his mother, she immediately greeted the customer. Kim Bong-seok didn't understand anything, but still cooperated with his mother. Frank started talking to him and praised the meat. Kim Bong-seok was simple-minded, so after only a few words, he revealed his true identity. Kim Bong-seok's mother carefully hid the gun in her belt. She was ready to fight at any moment. At the same time, Min Young-jun was pressuring the American advisor. Min Young-jun forced him to postpone Frank's mission. Frank just didn't want to deal with these two. The American advisor asked if the Korean side was nurturing the next generation of mutants. But Min Young-jun didn't answer and asked if the American side was. They were even eager to sell those mutants. Kim Bong-seok's mother was very worried when she saw her son walk through that door. She had warned him many times to be careful, but Kim Bong-seok's phone had run out of battery. Kim Bong-seok really wanted to know who that man was and what was happening, but he only received off-topic answers from his mother. Frank was actually a very pathetic child. He was forced to leave his mother when he was very young. Frank loved his mother very much, but she never protected him like other mothers did. Frank had to fight for his survival. In the end, he had to become a killing machine. Frank thought his mission was complete, but the American advisor continued to give orders. Frank's next target was Jang Hee Soo's father. Frank wondered when this would truly end. Lost in thought, Frank almost crashed into another car. Coincidentally, the driver of that car was Jang Hee Soo. He quickly realized who the other driver was. Jang Hee Soo immediately ordered all passengers out. Then, Jang Hee Soo turned his car around and madly chased Frank's car. The bus was speeding down the road. While Frank was still in doubt, the bus rear-ended his car. Frank's bad mood fueled his frenzy. He swerved directly into the next lane. Someone who couldn't react in time was thrown aside, causing Jang Hee Soo's bus to stop. Jang Hee Soo saw Frank's car turn onto a deserted road. Jang Hee Soo didn't give up and drove onto that road regardless. Frank had always waited for the day his mother would come and take him away. But until his memory was erased, his mother had not appeared. At this moment, Gil, not knowing where Frank's car had gone, was suddenly attacked from the side of the vehicle. He smashed the windshield and lunged out to attack Frank. Although Jang Hee Soo's skills were very good, his combat stats were very low, and Jang Hee Soo was no match for Frank at all. Through the battery, Frank knew Jang Hee Soo was Bang Payan's son. Frank softened and did not kill Jang Hee Soo. Then, Frank went to Jang Hee Soo's father's fried chicken restaurant. Following the delivery address, Frank immediately went to find him. Frank drove frantically in pursuit. When Frank saw Jang Hee Soo's father, he stepped on the gas and hit him. After Frank ran over Jang Hee Soo's father multiple times, he completely collapsed on the ground. Frank quickly left without checking, but Jang Hee Soo's father had hidden under the car and followed him to the empty lot. Ever since meeting Frank at the commercial building, he had suspected Frank was the one who killed Naju, and so the battle between Frank and Jang Hee Soo's father began. Both possessed superior strength with incredible recovery speed. But in terms of combat experience, Frank still couldn't defeat Jang Hee Soo's father. As a result, Frank was taken down with a shard to a weak point. Jang Hee Soo's father had many questions, but he didn't answer. Frank only asked if he had children. Did his child attend Jungwon School? Before Frank was continuously punched by Jang Hee Soo's father, he revealed his real name was Loa. After Jang Hee Soo's father sent a warning message to the American advisor, he burned Frank along with the files of other agents. When he returned home, dawn had broken. Jang Hee Soo was still fast asleep, so she didn't know her father hadn't come home last night. He would certainly do everything to protect his daughter well. As for Kim Bong-seok's mother, ever since meeting the killer, she hasn't let him attend evening tutoring anymore. After finishing school, he had to go straight home, and Kim Bong-seok was not allowed to let his phone die. That's why when his friends had to hand in their phones, Kim Bong-seok didn't comply. Jang Hee Soo protested Lee Kang-hoon to protect Kim Bong-seok, which made Lee Kang-hoon very sad. And this scene was witnessed by Bo Gum, who kept challenging Lee Kang-hoon to use his powers so everyone would know his true self. Previously, Jang Hee Soo always had Kim Bong-seok by her side, but because he had to go home early recently, Jang Hee Soo has been alone. Gradually, the two were no longer as close as before. The university entrance exam day was approaching. Kim Bong-seok obediently went home on time. Jang Hee Soo was still diligently practicing for the sports university entrance exam. Lee Kang-hoon still studied diligently until late at night before returning home. These days, Kim Bong-seok and Jang Hee Soo didn't say a word to each other, and neither of them initiated a conversation. Until the day before the exam, Kim Bong-seok suddenly received a message from Jang Hee Soo, which made him extremely happy. He was even more surprised when she traveled all the way there just to cheer him on. Kim Bong-seok couldn't let Jang Hee Soo leave like that, so he flew to her. The two of them talked to each other. They both misunderstood each other, which made their friendship distant. Jang Hee Soo was very thoughtful. She placed a rock on Kim Bong-seok. She admitted that she came here because she wanted to see him. As soon as Kim Bong-seok said that he also it's snow. This was the first snow of the season. Finally, the exam day arrived. Before the students came to school to complete their final days of classes, someone pranked the basketball hoop in the gym. Today, Jang Hee Soo's class had a physical education lesson. While Jang Hee Soo was practicing dancing with Hee-won, Kim Bong-seok was pulled away to play badminton with Lee Kang-hoon. Suddenly, Hee-won saw a small piece of iron fall from the basketball hoop. She screamed to stop Jang Hee Soo, but it was too late. The hoop kept falling towards Jang Hee Soo. Kim Bong-seok intended to fly over, but he was a step too late. Lee Kang-hoon revealed his super speed ability to save her just in time. After Jang Hee Soo calmed down, she worriedly searched for Kim Bong-seok, afraid he would reveal his flying ability. The astonishing scene was accidentally captured by a classmate. The video was immediately posted and garnered a lot of attention. The secretary reassured him that the video had been deleted, but Min Young-jun was still furious. Jang Hee Soo's father and Kim Bong-seok's mother had also seen the video. Kim Bong-seok was very angry with himself. If he could have controlled his flying ability, he would have been the one to save Jang Hee Soo. Wanting to control his powers, Kim Bong-seok hid from his mother to practice flying. After falling many times, Kim Bong-seok could control his flying ability a little, though he crashed into signs quite a bit. Kim Bong-seok's mother saw this and asked why he wasn't wearing weights anymore. Kim Bong-seok couldn't take it anymore and argued with her. He said he didn't like wearing weights anymore. From a young age, his mother always wanted her son to do as she pleased. Because of this, as he grew up, he became a passive and insecure person. Kim Bong-seok was always worried about what others would think of him, to the point of hating himself. He wanted to prove that he could do anything. He could save Jang Hee Soo. He could fly further and higher now. But no mother would force her child. She just didn't want Kim Bong-seok to leave like his father. Kim Bong-seok's mother never mentioned his father, not even once. Kim Bong-seok never told his mother about that dream. A beautiful memory of his father still appeared in his dreams every night. Meanwhile, Lee Kang-hoon's case had crossed borders and reached North Korea. They immediately sent people to investigate. Back in 1987, on the Indian Ocean, a boy on a plane saw someone flying in the sky. The person quietly approached the cockpit of that plane. He tried to tell the captain that the plane had a bomb. They needed to make an emergency landing. But at that moment, the captain and co-pilot misunderstood him as a terrorist. They even turned the steering wheel when they saw him holding a gun. At this point, the bomb only had seconds left. In the end, the boy and the passengers on the flight met a tragic end. In 1994, at the National Security Planning Agency, Kim Bong-seok's mother, Lee Mi-hyun, was 24 years old. She was the youngest in the history of the National Security Agency. She possessed excellent marksmanship and reflexes, along with superior senses. An injury during a mission caused Lee Mi-hyun to lose her sight. Lee Mi-hyun is currently working at the Information Management Bureau. There was an elite agent named Kim Do-sik, also known as Moon-san, who was to be assigned a special top-secret mission. Before allowing Kim Do-sik to take it on, Min Young-joon wanted Lee Mi-hyun to approach Kim Do-sik as closely as possible so that she could analyze and evaluate Kim Do-sik's mental state. Min Young-joon wanted to be sure Kim Do-sik was capable of carrying out the mission. Min Young-joon chose her because of her beautiful face, and he also gave Lee Mi-hyun another chance to be an agent. The first time Lee Mi-hyun met Kim Do-sik in the elevator, she knew this man wouldn't be easy to deal with. Min Young-joon was very supportive. He increased the workload to increase the frequency of Kim Do-sik's visits to headquarters. Each time Kim Do-sik met Lee Mi-hyun in a situation that was not unexpected, by the 11th time, she had successfully attracted his attention. Previously, Kim Do-sik only needed to visit headquarters once to report, but now he had to report here weekly. This made Jang Hee Soo's father, Jang Ju-won, very confused. Min Young-joon then separated Jang Ju-won and Kim Do-sik to give Lee Mi-hyun a chance to act. Thanks to her super-sensitive instincts, she seized the opportunity very well. Lee Mi-hyun introduced herself very naturally. While the two looked at each other awkwardly, Jang Ju-won had to sit and deal with some bills that fell from the sky. Returning to the time before Lee Mi-hyun worked at headquarters, at a restaurant in Longjing, China, a party was held with guests separated from their families in Korea. At that time, Lee Mi-hyun was just an intern agent, but her abilities were far superior to others. This gave her the opportunity to participate in this mission. To identify the spy and informant for North Korea among these individuals, the mission commander divided the drinks that day into two types. Whoever drank the drugged water was the spy. Then, those who drank it fell one by one. The deputy commander kept asking how the commander could tell who the spy was. At this moment, the commander pointed his gun at him. It turned out that the previous mission was just a trap set by the commander. He knew very well that there was a spy within. Therefore, those who did not drink were undoubtedly warned by the spy, and that person was none other than the deputy commander. After the traitor was found, the rest was much simpler, eliminating those who were pretending to be dead. However, the commander opened fire because those individuals were suspicious. This made Lee Mi-hyun resentful. She hesitated, seeing them tremble. Then, when the commander wanted her to throw a tear gas grenade, Lee Mi-hyun disobeyed and took a stun grenade instead. While the other agents were still dazed, she signaled the survivors to run away quickly. Back at headquarters where Lee Mi-hyun worked today, she had to work overtime until late. Kim Do-sik saw that her car was still parked at the headquarters, so he adjusted his hair a bit. As he entered, he didn't forget to look for Lee Mi-hyun's figure, and Lee Mi-hyun appeared just as Kim Do-sik expected. He suddenly kindly helped her carry the documents, and he even left Jang Ju-won behind to follow and talk to her. The next day they met again in the elevator. Kim Do-sik proactively held the documents for her. Jang Ju-won asked, "Are these things very heavy?" Lee Mi-hyun didn't hesitate to answer that they were very heavy. Jang Ju-won used his age and rank to make things difficult for her. But unexpectedly, he was shorter than her, while he was 8 years older than her. Furthermore, Jang Ju-won was forced by Min Young-joon to continue checking the invoices today. Lee Mi-hyun thought that their relationship would progress today, but Kim Do-sik saw through Min Young-joon's scheme. He also knew that Lee Mi-hyun was just performing her assigned duty. However, her calm demeanor surprised him. Kim Do-sik asked what had tired her the most in the past few days. Lee Mi-hyun said that she didn't like coffee. She had to skip dinner even though she was a very punctual eater. Coincidentally, Kim Do-sik was the same. He really liked Namsan grilled meat, so after work he took her there to enjoy it. This wasn't the first time Lee Mi-hyun had failed a mission, so she wasn't too worried, as an elite agent like Kim Do-sik had also failed before. The two of them strolled under the cherry blossoms in the rain, looking incredibly romantic. Lee Mi-hyun thought the mission had failed, but the truth might be otherwise. So Kim Do-sik, who didn't like coffee, grew to love it. Lee Mi-hyun teased him, asking if he had let his guard down because she was pretty when she intentionally approached him. Unexpectedly, Kim Do-sik admitted that she was beautiful and that he liked her. The atmosphere suddenly became extremely awkward. In Lee Mi-hyun's elimination of the North Korean spy, Kim Do-sik actually participated. Kim Do-sik was assigned the task of eliminating targets from the outside, but he failed just by seeing Lee Mi-hyun cry. Today, Min Young-jun called Lee Mi-hyun to ask about the mission's progress. She recalled what Kim Do-sik had said the day before. He told her to continue the mission, as only then could he continue to see her. Afterwards, Lee Mi-hyun reported that the mission was still progressing well. Min Young-jun reminded her of the mistake in the previous mission. He promised to promote Lee Mi-hyun if she did well this time. Before Lee Mi-hyun met Kim Do-sik, she thought this man was very cold and unapproachable. She didn't expect him to be very clumsy, and he often made nonsensical jokes. They both often had dinner at Namsan Fried Pork. Small talks gradually brought the two closer. Kim Do-sik said he was a quiet and bland person, and he became foolish and shy just because the other person was Lee Mi-hyun. Although he said he was serious at the time, she didn't believe him much. Min Young-jun asked Lee Mi-hyun about Kim Do-sik's secret. Of course, she didn't know that at this moment, he determined that Kim Do-sik did not like her yet, so he wanted Lee Mi-hyun to try harder. When she returned, she was harassed by Manager Chio. It was just because she was carrying out a secret mission assigned by Min Young-jun. Chio knew that she still had a mission assigned to her, but Chio still forced Lee Mi-hyun to run the deadline. That often made Lee Mi-hyun stay late to work overtime at night. She was alone in the office. Something outside the window made Lee Mi-hyun a little scared of ghosts. She turned back a third time and saw Kim Do-sik hovering outside the window. Lee Mi-hyun always had a serious expression, only occasionally smiling cheerfully. This was the first time Lee Mi-hyun saw Kim Do-sik fly, so she was very surprised. She blinked her eyes repeatedly, which made him a little amused. He brought Namsan fried pork for her to eat for dinner. Just because the day before, Lee Mi-hyun complained that the butcher shop didn't deliver, today's meat was especially delicious. She suddenly remembered what Kim Do-sik had said, that he would show her the whiteness of snow when seen from the sky. Lee Mi-hyun realized that Kim Do-sik was not joking. She used her super senses to see Kim Do-sik sitting on Namsan Tower eating kimbap. Sometimes he would even smile. A sweet feeling crept into Lee Mi-hyun's heart. During practice, Jang Ju-won wondered why Kim Do-sik always aimed for this particular spot. Instead of shooting directly at the heart, he explained that hitting that area would put pressure on the lungs and bronchial tubes, thus producing no sound. At that moment, the victim would suffer internal bleeding, but if they received medical attention, they would still survive, which was the best Kim Do-sik could do. Jang Ju-won also wanted to try changing the shooting position like Kim Do-sik, but he should practice shooting correctly first. Kim Do-sik left him in the practice room while he went to the office to talk with Lee Mi-hyun. Kim Do-sik looked at her coldly, making her a little sad. Kim Do-sik thought she didn't welcome him. Kim Do-sik said nothing and quietly waited for her to finish her work. Initially, Lee Mi-hyun was a little afraid of a black agent like Kim Do-sik, but after the two interacted, she felt completely the opposite. Kim Do-sik also confided in her that he worked in an environment where he didn't communicate with others, so he didn't know how to talk. Sometimes Kim Do-sik would make nonsensical jokes, but that was his heart. Lee Mi-hyun knew those words were from the bottom of his heart. She saw his blank expression. Lee Mi-hyun told herself that she was telling him her secrets. She proved her ability by describing Kim Do-sik's heart rate at that moment, which was beating very fast. Then, Kim Do-sik proactively expressed his feelings for Lee Mi-hyun. The overflow of emotions made him lose control and fly away. Due to political instability, Min Young-jun immediately called Lee Mi-hyun that night. When he asked her what Kim Do-sik's secret was, Lee Mi-hyun did not answer. Suddenly, he said her mission was complete. Lee Mi-hyun wondered and returned to the office. Department head Chio did not hide his contempt for Lee Mi-hyun. She did not understand why Min Young-jun gave Lee Mi-hyun that task. It turned out that Campaign C failed unreasonably, which made Min Young-jun suspicious. An excellent person like Lee Mi-hyun could not mistake a stun grenade for a tear gas grenade. There was only one possibility. She made a mistake intentionally. Lee Mi-hyun's actions were meaningless in his eyes, but there was someone exactly like her, Kim Do-sik. So Min Young-jun made the two of them fall in love, and everything went as he wished. At this time, the secretary brought in coffee. The secretary had heard what Min Young-jun had just said. Even though she told Lee Mi-hyun that Min Young-jun knew she was lying, Lee Mi-hyun was still suspicious. So she went to observe the room of the department head, Chio, and there was a sound exactly like the one she heard in the coffee machine. Sure enough, there was a surveillance camera there. Lee Mi-hyun went to confront Min Young-jun directly. It turned out that Kim Do-sik was alone. Kim Do-sik had no family and nothing to care about. Therefore, he did not dare to assign a big job to Kim Do-sik. So he created a reason for Kim Do-sik to return. Although Lee Mi-hyun was dissatisfied, she could not argue with her superior. In return, he promised to take good care of her ailing father. From that day on, Lee Mi-hyun never saw Kim Do-sik again. It seemed Kim Do-sik had accepted that crucial mission. One day, the intelligence agency received shocking news, and it was confirmed. The North Korean leader had died before the summit between South Korea and North Korea. The cause of death was a heart attack. While the order was for the North Korean leader to die by assassination, Kim Do-sik did not return, so Min Young-jun summoned the other department heads to a meeting. The last lead they had was when Kim Do-sik crossed the border into North Korea. Min Young-jun mobilized all his forces to hunt him down, and he also sent people to monitor Lee Mi-hyun. Lee Mi-hyun doesn't know when she developed the habit of looking up at the sky. While everyone else was waiting for the rain to break the heat, she was anticipating a familiar silhouette. But then, the feeling of distance from the person he loved made Kim Do-sik extremely uncomfortable. Knowing this place was very dangerous, he still returned to find her, regardless of the risk. Lee Mi-hyun was overjoyed to see Kim Do-sik, but this is also when he falls into danger. Let's delve into the past of Jang Hee Soo's father. Before becoming an agent for the National Security Agency, Jang Hee Soo's father was a gangster at the fish market. He is known as a monster. He possesses superhuman strength and regenerative abilities. Thanks to Jang Ju-won, Wang Jin's nameless gang has gradually taken over several neighboring areas. For instance, today, thanks to Jang Ju-won's intervention, Chairman Chae-young's nightclub fell into the hands of boss Wang Jin. One day, the boss called Jang Ju-won, and it turned out the boss had accepted Chairman Chae-young's merger offer. But Jang Ju-won disagreed because he only fought for his teammates, not for money. Because the two had different views, Jang Ju-won had less contact with them. Sometimes he just dropped by to see his younger brother Min-ki. But Min-ki was no longer the boy he used to be. Min-ki was busy managing the nightclub, so he didn't have time to see Jang Ju-won. Jang Ju-won went to the nightclub looking for the boss and Min-ki, but how they had changed. Many people were injured because of Min-ki. Since the boss started expanding his territory, Jang Ju-won took many stabs for him, but he said something incredibly cold. The boss said Jang Ju-won didn't feel pain because he was a monster. Too disappointed, Jang Ju-won had nothing to say. Because Jang Ju-won beat Chairman Chae-young's subordinate, and Jang Ju-won still refused to yield, Chae-young bribed Min-ki to drug Wang Jin and Jang Ju-won. Jang Ju-won woke up in a stupor and saw himself and his boss tied up in a car. Chairman Chae-young's subordinates were pushing the car into the sea. Jang Ju-won was fine, but he didn't want to implicate his boss. At this moment, Chairman Chae-young told Jang Ju-won that Jang Ju-won's friends were injured by boss Wang Jin. Boss Wang Jin did that to make him explode with power. The merger was also Wang Jin's demand of Chae-young. From beginning to end, Jang Ju-won was merely a shield for boss Wang Jin. One more thing. Min-ki himself proposed this plan to drug him. Since Min-ki knew Jang Ju-won best, Jang Ju-won was betrayed by the two people he trusted the most. He could only scream to express his anger. After the car sank, Jang Ju-won broke his own arm to remove the handcuffs. Although Jang Ju-won hesitated a little, he decided not to save his boss, Wang Jin. Afterwards, Jang Ju-won stopped being a gangster and made money through extortion. Every time Jang Ju-won needed to pay rent, he would go out onto the street to collect compensation. The first time Jang Ju-won met the girl he liked was at the boarding house where he lived. At that time, Jang Ju-won was quite impressed with her cold face. Except for going out to extort money, Jang Ju-won rarely left the house. Jang Ju-won happened to see the girl from before arguing with a man. It turned out she sold coffee. While delivering coffee, she encountered a customer who wanted to take liberties with her. She handled the situation skillfully, making the customer angry. When rent was due, Jang Ju-won lay down in the street again. While Jang Ju-won was listening to the landlady complain, the girl arrived. He only caught a glimpse of her surname Wong. Another time, the two bumped into each other by chance. Because Jang Ju-won had a beard and looked old, she called him uncle. They only spoke a few sentences, but Hwang Ji-hee had a rather good impression of Jang Ju-won. Because Jang Ju-won respected her greatly, he was unlike other men who were rude and condescending just because she sold coffee. Hwang Ji-hee guessed Jang Ju-won was around 40 years old, but in reality, he was the same age as her. Jang Ju-won didn't always act successfully. For example, today, Jang Ju-won encountered an uncooperative driver. He chased after him and happened to run into Hwang Ji-hee. She heard Jang Ju-won shouting that someone had hit a car and fled. She enthusiastically wanted to help him catch up to that person. But even if the two of them caught up, Jang Ju-won couldn't act anymore. Therefore, Jang Ju-won had to ask Hwang Ji-hee for directions to the motel because he was blind. She pointed him towards the church, but for some reason, Jang Ju-won kept walking further and further away from the motel. As Jang Ju-won approached the church, he found himself facing a dead end. Jang Ju-won looked at the cross that stood out in the dark night, which reminded him of the past. That night, he carried his anger to seek revenge on Chairman Che, An, and Minky. But in the end, he couldn't bring himself to kill Minky. As Jang Ju-won was still struggling to find his way home, he met Hwang Ji-hee. She didn't expect him to actually be lost. What was more surprising was that Jang Ju-won suddenly burst into tears like a child. Min Young-jun heard about the monster, so he came. Here, he suggested that if Minky caught Jang Ju-won, this area would no longer be prohibited. That day, Hwang Ji-hee drove the crying Jang Ju-won home to rest. Every time he recalled that, Jang Ju-won would unconsciously smile. Suddenly, Jang Ju-won thought of something. He hurried to tidy up his house. He cleaned his room, then he gathered his courage and called Hwang Ji-hee's cafe. While Jang Ju-won waited for her to come, he didn't forget to bathe and shave neatly. Certainly, Jang Ju-won's appearance became 15 years younger immediately afterwards. The first person to arrive was not Hwang Ji-hee. The freshly brewed coffee was still hot, but Jang Ju-won drank it all so that person would leave. The second and third individuals were the same. The landlady kept sighing that this young man must be in his prime when Hwang Ji-hee arrived. Every day, Hwang Ji-hee could still hear the TV from Jang Ju-won's room. It turned out he didn't like quiet because he suffered from claustrophobia. Jang Ju-won turned on the lights in the windows every night. Hwang Ji-hee said she liked people who looked like monsters but were good people. Jang Ju-won thought he was that type of person, so he couldn't help but feel happy. After the two finished their coffee, as Hwang Ji-hee was about to leave, Jang Ju-won offered to buy her a night. Hwang Ji-hee thought he wanted to be intimate, but Jang Ju-won said he just wanted to talk. She thought he was crazy, so she didn't agree, just took the money for the coffee and left. Initially, she hated the type of idiot like Jang Ju-won. He pretended to be romantic and always talked about morals, but his ultimate goal was still sex. The landlady knew the content of the conversation between the two and understood one thing. According to her, Jang Ju-won was foolish because of Hwang Ji-hee, not because of her job. The coffee delivery people before her left Jang Ju-won's room very quickly, so Jang Ju-won was truly romantic. From that day on, whenever Jang Ju-won's room number called, the landlady always let Hwang Ji-hee make the delivery. Jang Ju-won, afraid she would get cold, thoughtfully closed the window. The two of them drank coffee and chatted. Sometimes they read novels together. Today, Jang Ju-won went out to borrow more novels to read and accidentally heard Hwang Ji-hee scream. The person bullying Hwang Ji-hee was the man who had tried to make a move on her the other day but failed. Today, he had asked his friends to lure Hwang Ji-hee there for revenge. Hwang Ji-hee resisted fiercely. Suddenly, the wall next to him vibrated, as if someone was drilling through it. The mirror on the wall fell, revealing a large hole, a hole big enough for Hwang Ji-hee to see Jang Ju-won's furious face. Jang Ju-won saw that the person on the other side was Hwang Ji-hee, which made Jang Ju-won even angrier. Jang Ju-won used his body to break through a large section of the wall. Jang Ju-won asked again what Hwang Ji-hee had said earlier. A stuttering villain said he would kill all of you. As a result, the 4 villains were quickly defeated by Jang Ju-won, and they were locked in the room and not allowed to leave. The former landlady always had a bad attitude towards Jang Ju-won, but now, every time she sees him, she trembles. Jang Ju-won anxiously called the cafe to check on Hwang Ji-hee. The person who answered the phone quickly recognized Jang Ju-won. She said Hwang Ji-hee had gone to the hospital. It was only then that Jang Ju-won learned her full name was Hwang Ji-hee. At the same time, a villain escaped through the window and went to report to the boss. Jang Ju-won, in the room, heard a strange sound and immediately guessed what was about to happen. The boss wanted to show off to Jang Ju-won, but Jang Ju-won punched him, breaking 2 teeth at once. During the fight, Jang Ju-won's hand hit the heater and burst into flames, but he felt no pain and still defeated each thug. Jang Ju-won was stabbed all over, but he got up and dealt with them all. But it was just the beginning. When Chairman Chaeyoung's subordinate, Bada, arrived, Min-ki had also brought 100 waiting thugs, but they were immediately thrown out the window like trash. Hidden in a nearby bush, Min-ki trembled as he saw Jang Ju-won staring at him, covered in blood. Bada's baseball bat nearly hit his head, and Min Young-jun, who was always watching the rumored monster, wanted Min-ki to drive Jang Ju-won insane. If anyone died, he would handle it. Hwang Ji-hee returned to the cafe from the hospital. She knew Jang Ju-won had called to check on her, so she shyly called him to report she was safe, but she couldn't reach him. Hwang Ji-hee heard from a colleague that the police were surrounding Sago Ward, where Jang Ju-won lived. Hwang Ji-hee had a bad feeling, so she drove there. Jang Ju-won was super strong, super durable, not super fast. He was quickly caught up by them. One by one they tortured him, because they knew that no matter how hard they stabbed Jang Ju-won, he wouldn't die, so they were very determined. Min Young-jun had Kim Do-sik assess Jang Ju-won's capabilities. He just needed a monster. If Jang Ju-won died, he wouldn't be a monster anymore, because he would be useless to him. Meanwhile, Hwang Ji-hee had already bypassed the police cordon. She wandered the alleys searching for Jang Ju-won. Hwang Ji-hee finally found Jang Ju-won, but Jang Ju-won didn't want to get involved with her. Hwang Ji-hee thought Jang Ju-won was in trouble, and since he saved her, she stood there and refused to leave. Jang Ju-won was afraid the thugs would catch her, so he could only get in the car and let Hwang Ji-hee drive away. The two of them drove for a long time to escape their pursuit. Jang Ju-won explained that he was paying the price for what happened in the past because he had killed someone. His hand holding Hwang Ji-hee gradually loosened, but Hwang Ji-hee believed there must be a reason why he did it. The words made Jang Ju-won hold Hwang Ji-hee tighter. But then a car from the opposite direction rammed straight into them. Although Jang Ju-won shielded Hwang Ji-hee from the impact, she still fell unconscious. Jang Ju-won frantically lunged towards the car. As a result, Jang Ju-won was run over by the car and unable to move. Min-ki laughed gleefully watching Jang Ju-won. He had even prepared a harpoon gun. Before Min-ki could shoot, Kim Do-sik killed Min-ki from above first. The next day, Hwang Ji-hee woke up in the hospital. She just sat there listlessly, making the old woman next to her very curious. Hwang Ji-hee began telling those elderly women about her hero. 6 months after that day, Jang Ju-won officially became an agent of the National Security Agency. Jang Ju-won's nickname was Woo Gang-bo. He was the teammate of Agent Moon Seon, whose real name was Kim Do-sik. One day, the Yusei Cafe welcomed a special guest. Hwang Ji-hee couldn't help but tease Jang Ju-won. She asked him if he was blind, that he could still find his way here. Jang Ju-won said that he was still blind as before, but he knew the way to her. However, he now had a new identity and responsibility, that of an agent of the National Security Agency. The special agent duo Jang Ju-won and Kim Do-sik now understood each other very well. This time they had to go to Russia to rescue a Korean doctor. Jang Ju-won bravely fought within the enemy's ranks. While Kim Do-sik pushed the enemy from the outside, they quickly completed the mission. All they had to do was bring the doctor back to Korea, but if Kim Do-sik carried both of them and flew back, it would be too heavy. So Kim Do-sik carried the doctor back to the country and left Jang Ju-won to find his own way back. They went through many things together until Kim Do-sik met Lee Mi-hyun. Not long after Kim Do-sik escaped, Min Young-jun used Lee Mi-hyun's father to threaten her. He wanted her to help him capture Kim Do-sik alive. That night, though Kim Do-sik knew it was a trap, he still went. He and Lee Mi-hyun were separated. As he tried to resist, he discovered the gun was gone. Lee Mi-hyun was pointing the gun at him. Kim Do-sik was escorted by a large number of agents to headquarters, leaving Lee Mi-hyun alone in an empty room. She didn't have much time to think, as she still had things to do. Kim Do-sik knew that Min Young-jun didn't need the Blue House's approval and had given him the task, but he didn't bother threatening Min Young-jun. Kim Do-sik declared that he would survive in his own way. He would survive all pursuits from everyone. As soon as he finished speaking, Kim Do-sik launched an attack. The sudden situation left those present unable to react. Min Young-jun was taken hostage by him. If Kim Do-sik disappeared like that, Lee Mi-hyun would be implicated. So he risked his life to return, just to deny his relationship with Lee Mi-hyun in front of everyone. Kim Do-sik shot the woman he loved, but luckily, Jang Ju-won shielded her from the bullet in time. As Kim Do-sik and Lee Mi-hyun hugged, he signaled her to pull out a gun and threaten him. Kim Do-sik then gave Jang Ju-won the pocket knife so he could help her. But before Kim Do-sik accepted the mission to North Korea, he secretly signaled Jang Ju-won first. After everything happened, Lee Mi-hyun came to give Jang Ju-won the pocket knife. Because Jang Ju-won took a long time to remove the bullet, his hand still bears a scar to this day. The next morning, Min Young-jun was found in a tree near the Blue House. Because Min Young-jun could not explain himself to the Blue House, he was demoted. When Lee Mi-hyun's father passed away, she also escaped the organization's control. Kim Do-sik had not yet returned to find her. Afterwards, Lee Mi-hyun found a new job. She lived the life she had always desired, but Kim Do-sik still hadn't returned. Because of Kim Do-sik, Lee Mi-hyun developed a habit of working by the window. She also often drank coffee from the vending machine, and she would often look up at the sky to relax and to search for what she had always been waiting for. And then one cold, snowy night, Kim Do-sik appeared and fulfilled his promise to Lee Mi-hyun. After that, they had a child together. Both were elite agents, but they were tired and helpless because of a child. Before Kim Bong-seok could speak, he revealed the abilities inherited from his father. From then on, their ceilings also had nets, and then came the day both sides ceased hostilities, and Min Young-jun also returned after hiding for many days due to a previous incident. Min Young-jun summoned everyone to the conference room except Agent Jang Ju-won. They would start over from scratch. Kim Bong-seok is growing up. Kim Do-sik wants to move to a bigger house so the boy won't feel cramped. But Lee Mi-hyun immediately refused, because this place was too far from everyone's homes. Therefore, there was nothing to fear about others knowing their secret. Although this time was extremely peaceful, they could not let their guard down. Kim Do-sik decided to wait a little longer, then the whole family would move to the outskirts of Seoul and open a store. Lee Mi-hyun would cook, and he would clean, wash dishes, and make deliveries. They would open a fried meat store, which was Lee Mi-hyun's favorite dish. One day, Lee Mi-hyun returned home to find her son missing. Kim Do-sik reassured his wife and flew into the sky. He luckily found his son floating in the clouds. This was also the scene that always appeared in Kim Bong-seok's dreams. Although the boy was fine, a sense of unease still haunted Lee Mi-hyun. One day, a customer came to buy apples. That person was Manager Kim. Then, finally, trouble arrived. That night, Lee Mi-hyun heard unusual footsteps. About 30 people came to her house, including 3 superhumans. Kim Do-sik would go out to distract them so his wife and son could escape through the back door. Kim Do-sik told her not to reveal that Kim Bong-seok had the same abilities as his father. He would definitely not let his son live a life like his. When Kim Do-sik signaled, Lee Mi-hyun just kept walking straight ahead without looking back. When it was over, Kim Do-sik would come find her and her son. While Kim Do-sik was out dragging others away, another group broke into the house looking for Lee Mi-hyun and Kim Bong-seok. Kim Do-sik was unfortunately shot by Na-ju. As Kim Do-sik was about to fly away, he was pulled back by Jin-chan. The electrician Bong Pyong used electricity to control him. Kim Do-sik was tied up, but still flew up to observe the situation for Lee Mi-hyun. The search party for Kim Bong-seok and his son was called back to help capture Kim Do-sik. Lee Mi-hyun received his signal and immediately drove away. Kim Do-sik also stopped resisting. From then on, Lee Mi-hyun and her son wandered everywhere, but she didn't know that the organization was always closely monitoring them. After Kim Do-sik left, the monster Jang Ju-won was also forgotten. Not long after, Jang Ju-won married the woman he loved, and the two lived a simple but happy life. Retired agents like him now only need to work as civil servants to earn a living. Although Jang Ju-won was once a fearless agent, he still had to bow to the numbers. His special abilities had no place to be used, which made him seem to lose his reason for existence. But he is the reason Wang Jihee exists. Wang Jihee's heart aches to see her husband sad and lifeless. Wang Jihee wants Jang Ju-won to do as he wishes, and she will always support him. The next day, as Jang Ju-won was preparing his resignation letter, he saw a notice reminding him to pay his rent. Their current home is thanks to this job. If he quit now, they would take it back. Thus, he and his wife would have nowhere to live. Jang Ju-won sadly went to drink to drown his sorrows, but his body knew no intoxication, which only doubled his sadness. The next day, Jang Ju-won asked his wife to buy him a new bag. He began to adapt to life. Min Young-joon returned and suggested Jang Ju-won be himself again. He advised Jang Ju-won to do things only he could do, which was to prove himself to the world. Min Young-joon's words truly made Jang Ju-won think, because it was what he had always wanted. But once Jang Ju-won returned to being a secret agent, he would no longer be by his wife's side as before. Wang Jihee realized that her husband was hiding something, but she always supported him no matter what he chose. And finally, Jang Ju-won decided to return to being a secret agent. Elsewhere, a submarine carrying armed North Korean agents was discovered and sunk. Some agents are dead, and the remaining agents are currently in hiding. Therefore, South Korea sent people to search the surrounding areas. Jang Ju-won was also part of the search team. The soldiers were very curious about who he was. However, their superiors ordered them not to ask him for any information, so they could only guess. The company commander brought food and equipment to Jang Ju-won. The military uniform would help Jang Ju-won not stand out too much, which would be disadvantageous to the team during combat. The next day, the battle between South Korea and North Korea took place. There were soldiers below and helicopters above, but the North Korean soldiers still managed to evade. They counterattacked, inflicting significant casualties on the Korean soldiers. Min Young-joon dispatched Section Chief Kim to assist Jang Ju-won. Although Section Chief Kim possessed no special abilities, he was highly valued by Min Young-joon. Because Section Chief Kim was very skilled at finding people, that ability was perfectly suited for the current mission of locating individuals. After days of searching, the Korean army finally had a lead. Section Chief Kim used footprints in the ice to guide the army. But Section Chief Kim stopped Jang Ju-won from following them, as the footprints did not belong to ordinary people. Team leader Kim suspects there are mutants within this North Korean spy group. Previously, the South Korean team received intelligence that North Korea was also training mutants to counter South Korea. The army dispatched 2 million soldiers to search for 40 days, but to no avail, which was enough to confirm that the intelligence was completely accurate. Team leader Kim told the soldiers to let the two sides clash soon. As the entire South Korean army was about to be annihilated, Team leader Kim and Jang Ju-won appeared like heroes to shine. But Jang Ju-won disagreed with Team leader Kim's ignoble idea, because for Jang Ju-won, human lives were not a tool to improve performance. As expected, the South Korean army fell into the trap prepared by the spy group. The South Korean army was caught by surprise. Many were unable to react, causing the number of injured to rise rapidly. Fortunately, Jang Ju-won arrived in time to turn the tide. Jang Ju-won ran swiftly through the hail of bullets. He took fatal shots for the soldiers. 2 spies were killed. Jang Ju-won used his body to block a grenade, which surprised those around him. While they were not paying attention, a spy shot Jang Ju-won in the face. Then, he also shot the captain dead. Jang Ju-won went mad and rushed forward. At this moment, someone was creating a landslide, crushing countless soldiers under the massive rocks. Jang Ju-won could only approach that person to prevent further casualties. The North Korean spy possessed super speed and superior physical strength, but his enemy was someone with the ability to heal himself. Therefore, he could never kill Jang Ju-won. The North Korean spy didn't want to waste time, so he kicked Jang Ju-won away and ran off. Although the Korean team didn't capture anyone, Director Kim was very pleased because they now had a reason to rebuild the organization. But now, Jang Ju-won no longer wants to listen to Director Kim. Wang Jihee finally waited for her husband to return. The news on TV made her extremely worried about Jang Ju-won. She looked at him, haggard and heartbroken. Min Young-jun wanted to bring the organization back to the center, so he created a new black team with the participation of 4 mutants, including Bong Pyong, Na Zhu, Jin Chan, and Jang Ju-won. Jang Ju-won will lead the mission assigned by Min Young-jun, which is to go to North Korea to confirm the existence of the mutants they are training. Hwang Ji-hee always wanted a daughter with a face like her husband's, so that when Jang Ju-won was away, she wouldn't be lonely anymore. But he kept leaving, making it impossible for them to have children. They agreed to have intercourse once a month, and those days were her ovulation days. Hwang Ji-hee just hoped her husband could come home soon. Jang Ju-won knew his wife's feelings and immediately agreed. Not long after, they had an incredibly lovely daughter. Jang Hee Soo grew up like that. Until one day, Jang Ju-won received terrible news as soon as he got off the plane. Hwang Ji-hee and Jang Hee Soo had been in a serious accident. Jang Hee Soo was out of critical danger, but Hwang Ji-hee was not so lucky. Leaving the hospital room, Jang Ju-won couldn't help but cry like a child. He was in a crisis and in extreme pain. All his painful emotions turned into ceaseless tears. Although Jang Ju-won had not yet overcome the pain of losing his wife, he had to try to appear cheerful to take good care of Jang Hee Soo. He requested to be transferred to a light office job. Min Young-jun agreed on the condition that Jang Ju-won would be available immediately when he was needed. Lee Jae-man is the father of class president Lee Kang-hoon. He possesses extraordinary strength and speed, but he is intellectually disabled. Lee Jae-man has a wife who loves him dearly. She opened a shoe stall, and he worked as a porter to help her. The place where they are doing business is scheduled for demolition, which has led to strong protests from local merchants. Everyone knows that Lee Jae-man is stronger than others, so they want him to join the protest. But Lee Jae-man's wife has repeatedly warned him not to go with those people. Lee Jae-man loves his son very much. He rarely speaks, but whenever he does, he only mentions Lee Kang-hoon. No matter what Lee Jae-man is doing, as soon as the clock indicates it's time to pick up his son, he rushes off. He has never made his son wait. 3 years ago, someone caused trouble for Lee Jae-man and his wife. He couldn't control himself, so he used his hands very heavily, and therefore, he was arrested. As soon as the police car left, Lee Jae-man's wife's truck caught fire, burning Lee Kang-hoon. Although the doctors were able to treat it in time, the burns left a scar on Lee Kang-hoon's body to this day. When Lee Jae-man returned, his son was old enough for kindergarten. Lee Kang-hoon grew up without a father, so he wasn't used to Lee Jae-man's closeness. Meanwhile, Jang Ju-won was also getting used to taking care of his daughter. Although young, Jang Hee Soo was very understanding. She always helped her father with chores. Lee Kang-hoon finally accepted his father and showed him more affection. Today, merchants took to the streets to protest. Lee Jae-man's wife represented the family in the demonstration, so she left the care of Lee Kang-hoon to her husband. The workload increased, causing Jang Ju-won to come home late often. However, Jang Hee Soo was very well behaved. She played by herself at home until she fell asleep. Meanwhile, the protest lasted until evening, when tensions between the two sides reached a peak. The government sent in the police, and they brutally suppressed the protesters. Everyone hurried away. The merchants' goods were ruthlessly destroyed, and so were Lee Jae-man's wife's stalls. Lee Jae-man saw that it was dark and his wife had not returned, which worried him, so he wanted to go and see. He promised his son that he would return before he went to sleep. Then, Lee Jae-man hurried to find his wife. The merchants were arrested one by one and put on the bus. Lee Jae-man's wife was extremely frightened when she saw her husband. Lee Jae-man rushed straight to the bus, doing his best to save his wife. She cried and begged him to think of their son and leave. What would Lee Kang-hoon do if he were also arrested? Lee Jae-man had just left, and Jang Ju-won had received orders from Min Young-jun to capture him. Lee Jae-man was hiding in the sewers. The police above were divided into teams and fanned out to narrow down his location. Lee Jae-man's wife pleaded to see her husband, saying he was mentally challenged and wouldn't listen to anyone, but those outside wouldn't listen to Lee Jae-man's wife. A moment later, Jang Ju-won also arrived. After receiving crucial information about Lee Jae-man, Jang Ju-won began descending into the sewers to find him. Someone warned him to be careful, as Lee Jae-man was a monster. But Jang Ju-won was also a monster. He followed strange noises in the sewers. Not long after, he found Lee Jae-man. The two began to fight underwater. Jang Ju-won tried his best to subdue Lee Jae-man, while Lee Jae-man only wanted to escape quickly to return to his son. But Jang Ju-won clung on, making Lee Jae-man angry. At this moment, A merchant discovered her son was missing. She called out, but no one answered. Then she saw a manhole next to her stall was missing its cover, and her son's slippers were down there. Meanwhile, the battle between the two monsters was still ongoing. Jang Ju-won would faint for a while, then wake up and continue fighting. While sinking underwater, Jang Ju-won took the opportunity to handcuff the two of them together. The mother, panicked, went to the police station to ask them to find her son. After a struggle, Jang Ju-won managed to subdue Lee Jae-man, rendering him unconscious. The on-site police commander called for reinforcements. They formed a team to search for the missing child. Rainwater continued to pour into the drain. The child was trying to cling to the railing to avoid being swept away by the water. Fortunately, Jang Ju-won heard the child's cries. He wanted to break down the wall to rescue the child, but he could only use one hand, so the wall did not break. At this moment, Lee Jae-man woke up. The two of them joined forces, punching and breaking the concrete block above to rescue the boy. On the ground, the police commander at the scene was scolded by Min Young-jun for daring to disobey the security bureau. But the commander said that saving people was their responsibility, and he did not regret his decision. When the search team went down into the sewer, they found Jang Ju-won holding the boy in his arms. Jang Ju-won let Lee Jae-man go because Lee Jae-man said he had to return to his son. Min Young-jun was very angry that Jang Ju-won was too trusting, but Lee Jae-man was not lying. He cried and apologized to his son for being late. The father and son were hugging when the special forces stormed in. At this point, Min Young-jun knew that Lee Jae-man had an intellectual disability, so he handed Lee Jae-man over to the police to deal with, as he didn't need a useless person. Min Young-jun and Jang Ju-won had only taken a few steps when there was a loud noise behind them. Jang Ju-won worried that Lee Jae-man was agitated, but the one who had just thrown the Special Forces unit was Lee Kang-hoon. Could superpowers be hereditary? Min Young-jun's words made Jang Ju-won anxious. Jang Ju-won didn't dare to face his daughter's hopeful eyes. Jang Ju-won couldn't let Min Young-jun notice his daughter. Although Jang Ju-won was unsure if Jang Hee Soo had the same abilities as him, he took his daughter and left that night, which is why the father and daughter have been wandering around until now. Back in the present, Jang Hee Soo tells her father that she remembers a few things about her mother. On the day they had an accident, her mother smiled at her because she knew her daughter was as special as her father. Min Young-jun wasn't too surprised that Jang Ju-won ran away with his daughter. Min Young-jun was also unsure if the abilities were hereditary, but Team Leader Kim confirmed that they were. When Jang Hee Soo and her mother had their accident, Team Leader Kim was also present. It was already suspicious that Jang Hee Soo survived that terrible accident. Seizing this opportunity, Director Kim proposed his National Talent Development Project to Min Young-jun. They would train the next generation of mutants. The first on the list was Lee Jae-man's son, Lee Kang-hoon, followed by the son of the flying man Kim Do-sik, and the father, the monster Jang Ju-won. Director Kim had never stopped paying attention to these mutants. He had always quietly observed their growth because Director Kim wanted to determine if they had inherited their parents' abilities. Director Kim was confident in his scouting abilities. He also wanted to expand the search area nationwide to find other mutants, children who didn't have to go to school so they would train them in the form of a school. Finally, Min Young-jun was persuaded. Bogum also had a similar incident to Jang Hee Soo at school, but he wasn't as lucky as her. He believed this was not a random coincidence. Jang Hee Soo invited Lee Kang-hoon to eat noodles to thank him for yesterday. Lee Kang-hoon said he had finished studying, but he wouldn't go to college because he would work for the government. Jang Hee Soo was curious and asked why Lee Kang-hoon was still going to school. Recalling 3 years ago when Lee Kang-hoon was preparing to enter high school, Department Head Kim, who was also the principal of Jongwon School, came to find him. After that shocking incident, Lee Kang-hoon's father had served his 10-year prison sentence, but he was still on probation. Lee Kang-hoon wanted to help his family and clear his father's record, so he agreed to attend Jongwon School. Due to the incident in the lecture hall, the entire school was closed. Early this morning, it was being renovated and could no longer be used, so the homeroom teacher sent Jang Hee Soo to a sports center to continue training. Bogum had been waiting outside for a while. Seeing Jang Hee Soo go out, he immediately reminded her to be careful and not to trust anyone. But Jang Hee Soo didn't understand anything. When she returned to the classroom to get her backpack, she found Kim Bong-seok a little strange. He wasn't carrying weights today. Kim Bong-seok said he was practicing controlling his abilities and that he couldn't rely on weights forever. As long as he wasn't near Jang Hee Soo, he would be fine. But Jang Hee Soo still handed her backpack to Kim Bong-seok for safety. Then, they both went to the sports center together. The homeroom teacher's assistant, Choi Il-hwan, was checking the classrooms when he found Bogum still wandering around the school. Choi Il-hwan saw Bogum leave and immediately went into the principal's office. Lee Kang-hoon didn't want to go home, so he stayed at school to study. Jang Hee Soo stopped by the convenience store. She bought a few bottles of water and put them in Kim Bong-seok's backpack to reassure herself. The two innocent children didn't know they were being watched. Lee Mi-hyun and Jang Ju-won were also not idle. A child with superpowers is attending school in the same city and class as their children. Is this a coincidence, or is there another plot? They still want to go to school to find out. Jeon Gae-do is back to work tonight. You see Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok walking together and tease them a bit. As soon as they got into the car, another man got in too. This man couldn't pay the fare, so Jeon Gae-do borrowed his phone to check. This person was very strange, so Jeon Gae-do didn't take any more money, but he quietly observed the person through the rearview mirror. The person kept staring at Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok, which made Jeon Gae-do even more suspicious. As the teachers left one by one, Lee Mi-hyun went to the school to meet Kim Bong-seok's homeroom teacher. On her way, she called her son. Afraid of being scolded by his mother, Kim Bong-seok said he was going home. Lee Mi-hyun gave him a few instructions and hung up. Immediately after, Jang Jo-won also called Jang Hee Soo. Because he didn't allow her to go to the sports center, Jang Hee Soo lied to reassure her father. Shortly after Lee Mi-hyun entered the school, Jang Ju-won also arrived at the school to find the homeroom teacher. After the security guard reported to his superiors by phone, the guard immediately locked the gate. Lee Mi-hyun got straight to the point. She asked the homeroom teacher if the male student who saved his friend in the lecture hall had superpowers, right? The homeroom teacher smiled and explained that the students were just exaggerating and that there was nothing to worry about, and the school had arranged everything properly. Lee Mi-hyun didn't need to worry about it affecting other students. Lee Mi-hyun pretended to say her son was a poor student. The homeroom teacher immediately said that even though Kim Bong-seok wasn't good at academics, he still had the ability to pass the university entrance exam. However, Lee Mi-hyun had never mentioned she was Kim Bong-seok's mother, which indicated the homeroom teacher already knew about Kim Bong-seok. Choi Il-hwan was on patrol when he ran into Jang Ju-won. Choi Il-hwan said there was no one there. Jang Ju-won immediately made an excuse that a parent wanted to visit the school, which made it impossible for Choi Il-hwan to refuse. Choi Il-hwan rushed to the principal's office. Then, he turned on the hidden camera to monitor Jang Jo-won's activities. Jang Jo-won went to Lecture Hall D to check the scene of the incident and observe the surrounding area. On this side, Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok rang the bell to get off at the station. The other man followed. Both were still naive and unaware. At school, the homeroom teacher quickly came up with an explanation and invited Lee Mi-hyun back. Suddenly, Lee Mi-hyun asked him when he started teaching. The homeroom teacher fell into thought. Following Lee Mi-hyun's gaze, she looked up at the ceiling. Her superpower told her there was a hidden camera up there. Choi Il-hwan was too busy eavesdropping on Lee Mi-hyun to keep track of Jang Ju-won. Suddenly, Jang Ju-won appeared in front of the hidden camera, startling Choi Il-hwan. At this time, not far from the school, some North Korean agents were waiting for orders. They came to collect documents about Korean mutants. Upon receiving the signal, they immediately headed to the school's back gate. Jeon Gae-do knew that Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok were in danger, so he drove forward very fast. Everyone in the car screamed in panic. Only the man was intently watching Jeon Gae-do. Jeon Gae-do suddenly turned the steering wheel, causing the passengers to fall to one side. No one noticed the man's suspended leg. The bus was still speeding down the road. Jeon Gae-do even took off his gloves and pushed himself to run even faster. Jeon Gae-do saw the police station and quickly turned the steering wheel towards it. The passengers got off the bus one by one. Under the sudden darkness of the bus lights, the man also mysteriously disappeared. On this side, the homeroom teacher said he had been teaching for 10 years. He recalled that year he went to see Min Young-jun to become a black agent. The reason he applied to join the organization was that 8 years ago, he had been saved by a black agent. The homeroom teacher was determined to support the organization's black agents. Min Young-jun assigned him the task of searching for potential mutants, and he had to nurture them to serve the country. He had to evaluate the students objectively. The homeroom teacher must always be vigilant and free from unnecessary emotions. From that day on, homeroom teacher Choi Il-hwan became a black agent, hiding under the guise of Jung-won's physical education teacher. The first student Choi Il-hwan evaluated was Jeon Gai-do. He was the next generation of Bongpyong agents. Jeon Gai-do's physical strength was not outstanding. Section Chief Kim wanted quick results before Jeon Gai-do graduated, so he played a trick. He wanted to provoke Jeon Gai-do to reveal his abilities in a dangerous situation. That night, a group of students followed Director Kim's instructions to provoke Jeon Gai-do. But even though Jeon Gai-do was beaten to the point he couldn't stand, he still didn't fight back. Although Jeon Gai-do had abilities, he was useless without combat skills. Therefore, Choi Il-hwan had to redirect Jeon Gai-do to a different major. The next person was Agent Na-ju's daughter. Se-yoon's superior physical abilities were revealed very early on. Initially, Choi Il-hwan was only interested in training mutants, but as he interacted with the students for a long time, their affection softened him. Choi Il-hwan asked if Se-yoon's ability was X-ray vision. Yes. She also trusted her homeroom teacher, so she didn't deny it. But when Na-ju found out, she immediately arranged for her daughter to leave quietly, while Choi Il-hwan was excited because the training was going so well. Se-yoon suddenly passed away from cancer. Although Choi Il-hwan mourned her death, the mission had to continue. While Choi Il-hwan's main job was to observe and guide young superhumans, he was also very serious about his role as a homeroom teacher. In his years of searching for superhumans, Choi Il-hwan had encountered many difficult cases, but sometimes there were special cases like John Tak. John Tak possessed the ability to stop time. One day, the principal appointed Choi Il-hwan as Choi Il-hwan's assistant. Although he disliked it, Choi Il-hwan could not refuse. The principal wanted him to pay special attention to Kim Bong-seok and reminded him not to forget that he was not a real teacher. Lee Kang-hoon, Kim Bong-seok, and Jang Hee Soo enrolled in the school. Choi Il-hwan was startled while watching Jang Ju-won's movements. Jang Ju-won entered the guidance room and saw Lee Mi-hyun and Choi Il-hwan. Lee Mi-hyun knew it was time to leave, so she threw her phone in the trash and bid farewell to teacher Choi Il-hwan. As Lee Mi-hyun passed Jang Ju-won, she reminded him about the surveillance cameras. Upon exiting, Lee Mi-hyun used her superpowers to locate the electrical room and quickly went there. The school janitor knocked on the principal's office door. Choi Il-hwan angrily opened the door and was stabbed in the neck by the janitor. The police are taking statements from the passengers on the bus. Kim Bong-seok and Jang Hee Soo ran away for fear their parents would find out. She realized she had dropped Seol-K's power bank, but it wasn't too important, so they both ignored it. Lee Mi-hyun walked while observing the cameras here. She didn't want to reveal her purpose, so she deliberately walked in a different direction. Jang Ju-won also spoke directly to teacher Choi Il-hwan. Lee Mi-hyun's appearance surprised him quite a bit. Not only that, but Lee Kang-hoon's movements are exactly the same as Lee Jae-man's. The three children of three superhumans who know each other are all in the same class. This cannot be a mere coincidence. Initially, he thought Choi Il-hwan was very suspicious, until Jang Ju-won realized that the homeroom teacher was also being watched. As the janitor in the principal's office was listening to what the two men were saying, Jang Ju-won stared at a hidden camera on the ceiling. The janitor, feeling an opportunity had arisen, took out her phone and reported to the North Korean agent. One person in the hallway, two people in the career counseling office. There are two more students in the school, one in the classroom, the other in the teacher's lounge. The doorman let the North Korean agent in and dealt with those people. Lee Mi-hyun heard all of this. Jang Ju-won wanted to know who Choi Il-hwan was. He was the soldier Jang Ju-won took a bullet for during the North Korean spy search. Lee Mi-hyun followed the voice to the principal's office. The doorman pretended to be working, but Lee Mi-hyun saw someone's shadow reflected in the glass. She didn't say much, but gently closed the door to deal with the doorman. Han Bin was the female student who posted the video exposing Lee Kang-hoon's abilities, so her camera was confiscated. Han Bin tried to sneak into the school to retrieve his camera but was chased away by the security guard. At this time, at the back gate of the school, 4 North Korean agents signaled to someone in the trunk of a car. They broke the lock and entered the school. A brief memory of Lee Mi-hyun and Kim Do-sik mentions his flight. At that time, she was very curious about how Kim Do-sik could fly. Back then, he could fly from birth. Actually, if Kim Do-sik wanted to fly well, he just needed to control his fear of falling and land well. The mysterious man followed Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok to the sports center, which was large enough for her to practice. When Kim Bong-seok went out to buy a few things, Jang Hee Soo stayed behind to do a few warm-up laps. Not long after Kim Bong-seok left, the man arrived. He locked the door and suddenly appeared behind Jang Hee Soo. He asked how many laps she had run. She honestly said 10 laps. Suddenly, he threw Jang Hee Soo from the stands onto the field. The man wanted to test her abilities. When Kim Bong-seok returned, he found the door locked. He heard Jang Hee Soo scream and became extremely worried. Kim Bong-seok immediately ran outside to find a way to fly in. The man saw the wound on Jang Hee Soo's face healing very quickly. He had already figured out what her abilities were. He flew her up to confirm it once more. Outside, Kim Bong-seok recalled what his mother taught him. He took a deep breath to suppress his fear. The moment Jang Hee Soo was released, Kim Bong-seok flew to catch her. After circling a few times, Kim Bong-seok finally landed safely. In the principal's office, two women were fighting. Lee Mi-hyun recognized the other person as North Korean. Midway, Lee Mi-hyun heard approaching footsteps, so she hit the woman and ran out the window. The person who arrived was Jae Hart, an agent of the North Korean Special Abilities Bureau. The gatekeeper was a member of the Security Control Bureau. She turned on the hidden camera screen and began searching for Lee Mi-hyun. The North Korean agents' mission this time was to destroy South Korea's mutant training plan. They had to eliminate those involved and bring back documents about the young mutants. The mission commanders were Kim Deok-yeon and Jung. Damn it, they rushed into the briefing room to get the documents. The guards searched for a long time, but couldn't find Lee Mi-hyun. Jae Hart offered help, but she refused. At this moment, they saw Bo Gum struggling with something in the teacher's room. Jae Hart went there to check. Suddenly, some cameras went blurry. Lee Mi-hyun was using snow to obstruct the enemy's vision, but the gatekeeper managed to see her. The electrophoresis room door moved before closing. Lee Mi-hyun immediately turned off the circuit breaker. The entire school was plunged into darkness. Outside, Han Bin saw the school gate open and ran in. Kim Deok-yoon said nothing more. He only needed the documents about the children. Teacher Choi Il-hwan came, opened the cabinet, and took out the club. He was ready to fight. Young-dam saw this and immediately entered the room. Jung Ju-won challenged him, threatening to kill him if he dared to take another step. Due to the lack of electricity, Lee Kang-hoon had to go home. As soon as he left the study room, he encountered the person who had fought with Jung Ju-won. He was a mutant, with powers similar to his and his father's. At this moment, his mother, worried, called Lee Kang-hoon, but before he could answer, Chan Yu attacked him. Lee Kang-hoon's mother heard her son scream, so she panicked and told Lee Jae-man. Bo Gum found nothing in the teacher's lounge. As he was about to leave, he ran into Jae Hart. Jae Hart thought Bo Gum was a mutant and wanted to test him. Suddenly, Choi Il-hwan rushed at Jung-dam to hit him, but Jung-dam didn't dodge. Seeing this, Choi Il-hwan lunged and broke Jung-dam's leg. He could handle things here, so he let Choi Il-hwan go find the other students. On this side, the gatekeeper entered the power room. She was about to attack Lee Mi-hyun when she was shot in the head and died on the spot. At the same time, Choi Il-hwan followed the scream to save Bo Gum. However, his opponent was a mutant with super senses and was well trained, so Choi Il-hwan was no match for him. Choi Il-hwan could only shield Bo Gum. Choi Il-hwan begged him to spare Bo Gum. After Jang Ju-won finished with Jung-dam, he intended to deal with Kim Deok-yoon as well. But at this moment, the man who attacked Jang Hee Soo called Jang Ju-won. Unexpectedly, Jung-dam also had the ability to recover. Jang Ju-won was caught off guard and lost his advantage, getting punched in the face. In the gym, Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok teamed up to fight the man. Although Kim Bong-seok could fly, he didn't know how to fight, and Jang Hee Soo was kicked away whenever she got close to him. As a result, Kim Bong-seok got tangled in a net and Jang Hee Soo fainted. On this side, Jang Ju-won was being punched repeatedly with no time to recover. At this moment, Kim Deok-yoon arrived and said it was all Kim Do-sik's fault. Lee Mi-hyun became angry when he mentioned her husband. She immediately shot Chan Yu in the head to save Choi Il-hwan and Bo Gum. The two quickly went to the next room to hide, while Lee Mi-hyun and Chan Yu fought each other. Both were mutants with super senses. Unfortunately, Lee Mi-hyun was much stronger. She used her reflection on the faucet to momentarily distract Jae Hwan, but that was enough time for her to kill him. Teacher Choi Il-won told Bo Gum to quickly leave the Dao school. Hesitating whether to go or not, he heard someone crying. Bo Gum walked in and found that person was Han Bin. Bo Gum rushed in to comfort her. After Kim Daeok-yoon and Jung Dam knocked Jang Ju-won unconscious, they were about to go search for documents when they encountered Lee Mi-hyun. They confronted each other across the mirror on the stairs. At the sports center, Jun Hwang mocked Kim Bong-seok for being too weak. But Kim Bong-seok looked a lot like someone he knew, Agent Kim Do-sik. Kim Bong-seok was surprised to hear him mention his father's name. On this side, Lee Mi-hyun only wanted to know one thing: what happened to Kim Do-sik? Recalling that year, the top-secret mission Kim Do-sik received was to assassinate the North Korean leader. Relying on his exceptional flying ability and shooting skills, Kim Do-sik quickly bypassed defenses and entered. At that moment, Kim Daeok-yoon and other soldiers were easily defeated by Kim Do-sik. Kim Daeok-yoon tried his best to shoot Kim Do-sik but failed. He also lost a finger. But at that time, Kim Do-sik had already killed the leader. After that event, North Korea also wanted to have mutants, like South Korea. Therefore, the North Korean leader forgave Kim Daeok-yoon. He let Kim Daeok-yoon take on the mission of searching for mutants to serve the country. This process was extremely brutal. After the Korean soldiers underwent countless harsh training sessions, they were forced to stand on the brink of life and death. With no time to wait for their abilities to manifest, Kim Daeok-yoon resorted to this cruel method. No one knows how many innocent lives were unjustly taken just to find mutants. When Jun Hwang learned he had the ability to fly, he was not happy. Because Jun Hwang never wanted to become an elite warrior, Jun Hwang only wanted to be a regular soldier to help his country. Kim Daeok-yoon threatened Jun Hwang's family to force him to comply. Kim Do-sik's family of 5 was torn apart, and Min Young-jun also threatened his relatives. Kim Do-sik had to carry out the mission, otherwise his entire family would have to flee for their lives forever. Kim Do-sik had to be the one to carry out the mission, because only he knew where it was. Min Young-jun promised that after this mission, he would not force Kim Do-sik to do it anymore, because he knew Kim Do-sik would not be able to survive to catch Kim Do-sik. North Korea has paid a very heavy price. Even though Kim Do-sik only shot below the ribs to save other soldiers, from the moment they put Kim Do-sik in the North Korean leader's room, they knew they were abandoned by their country. That's why Kim Daeok-yoon hated Kim Do-sik so much. He had guessed the relationship between Kim Do-sik and Lee Mi-hyun. Kim Daeok-yoon said while secretly taking a weapon out of his pocket. Fortunately, Lee Mi-hyun could clearly hear the sound that just came from his pocket. She proactively attacked first, but was unfortunately shot. Her wound left a long trail of blood on the stairs. On this side, Kim Bong-seok knew that Jun Hwang was the one who captured his father. He was extremely agitated. The rage helped Kim Bong-seok focus and control his flight better. His super senses helped Kim Bong-seok dodge Jun Hwang's counterattack. Not only that, Kim Bong-seok also managed to control him. Kim Bong-seok shouted loudly to Jang Hee Soo, waking her up. Jang Hee Soo remembered the teacher's words. She cooperated very well with Kim Bong-seok. They successfully knocked Jun Hwang unconscious on the spot. Lee Kang-hoon had extraordinary speed and superior strength like Chan Yu, but he lacked real combat experience, so he was badly beaten. Kim Daeok-yoon sent Jung Dam to find Choi Il-hwan and the documents while he would check on his comrades. He recalled. That year, Jung Dam, despite his injuries, tried to climb a high cliff because he wanted to survive to serve his country. Kim Daeok-yoon suddenly wanted to say something but stopped. Meanwhile, Lee Mi-hyun hid in the bathroom to bandage her wounds. Kim Daeok-yoon went outside and to the electrical room. This was where his comrades were killed. Old age made Jang Ju-won's wound heal slower. The phone vibrated, and his wife's voice in his subconscious woke him up. The caller was Lee Mi-hyun. She said that she and Jang Ju-won needed to team up to protect the children. Kim Daeok-yoon saw that Jae-hwan was dead. He immediately summoned the last mutant to fight. At the same time, Lee Jae-man was racing down the road. The monitoring agency quickly received a signal from his ankle bracelet. They immediately confirmed with the local police. Lee Kang-hoon was furious, but could do nothing about Chan Yu. However, Lee Kang-hoon never gave up. Lee Kang-hoon was still breathing. He was still fighting. Jang Hee Soo and Han Bin were discovered by Kim Daeok-yoon. After Kim Daeok-yoon determined that the opponents were just 2 ordinary students, he told them to hide well and left. At the same time, Master Choi Il-hwan arrived to rescue Lee Kang-hoon. Although unable to resist, he tried his best. He was determined not to let Chan-yu harm his student. Lee Kang-hoon intended to seize the opportunity to shoot, but Chan-yu threw his master at him. Both teacher and student were beaten within an inch of their lives. As Lee Kang-hoon thought he was about to die, someone called his name, shaking the very air. It was Lee Jae-man, coming to save his beloved son. He used all his might to fight Chan-yu. Lee Jae-man slammed him into the wall, and then onto the floor. Chan-yu was completely passive. He had no chance to counterattack as Lee Jae-man gave him no room to breathe. Jung Dam heard the fighting and went towards it, but Jung Ju-won immediately stopped him. The two large men got into a fight. Blood spurted from their noses and mouths all over their faces. At this moment, Lee Jae-man's match also came to an end. Chan-yu was thrown out the window, his condition unknown. Outside, Jang Ju-won shouted. He used all his strength to take down Jung Dam. Jung Dam lay unconscious on the floor. Lee Jae-man tried to chase after Chan-yu but was stopped by Lee Kang-hoon. Lee Kang-hoon did not want him and his father to be apart anymore. Lee Jae-man looked at his son, covered in wounds and deeply heartbroken. He thought this was the end, but suddenly a stranger appeared in the building opposite. His name was Jae Suk. His family attempted to cross the border into South Korea but failed and were captured. The adults were executed, and he was locked in a dark prison for the rest of his life. Many people were brought here, but they all met the same fate, death. Only Jae Suk survived, and he gradually grew accustomed to this life in darkness. The insects from the rotting corpses haunted him. Jae Suk always felt itchy and wanted to kill them. There are countless handprints of Jae Suk on the wall. Then one day, Kim Do-sik arrived. At that time, Jae Suk started to get tired of living with those bugs. Jae Suk wanted to end his life but was stopped. At that time, Kim Do-sik told them to survive together and not give up. Jae Suk now turns to Jang Ju-won's group and makes a clapping motion. A sound wave is emitted, destroying a classroom. Teacher Choi Il-hwan entered to check on Lee Jae-man and Lee Kang-hoon. Seeing this, Jang Ju-won ran in another direction to distract them. The first sound wave greatly weakened the structure of this area, so when the school was hit by the second sound wave, it collapsed. Jang Ju-won tried to run as fast as he could to stop Jae Suk, but he was pushed away. Amidst the rubble, Lee Jae-man shielded them from the constantly falling large concrete blocks. On this side, Kim Bong-seok flew to check on Jang Hee Soo's injuries. Even though she said she wasn't hurt, he was still very worried. At this moment, Kim Bong-seok accidentally confessed that he liked Jang Hee Soo. Coincidentally, she liked him too. Just then, the sound of a phone call woke up Jun Hwang nearby. Kim Daeuk-yoon ordered him to go to the school immediately as the plan had failed. The two had been eliminated by Lee Mi-hyun. Kim Bong-seok, of course, heard the content of that short conversation. Jun Hwang threatened the two with a gun not to follow him. Kim Bong-seok didn't listen, so he immediately shot. But Jang Hee Soo managed to block it in time. The continuous use of sonic waves exhausted Jae Suk. Jang Ju-won was also quite badly injured, but still couldn't get close to him. Lee Kang-hoon tried his best to punch through the adjacent wall to create an escape route, even though Lee Jae-man kept shaking his head as he didn't want his son to get hurt. Not long after, Lee Kang-hoon also successfully freed the three. In the past, Jang Ju-won took a bullet for Kim Do-sik's wife, but now Jang Ju-won's daughter took a bullet for Kim Do-sik's son. Jang Hee Soo lets Kim Bong-seok fly to school first. She will chase after him. At first, Kim Bong-seok was still unsteady, but he quickly controlled his direction and began to accelerate. Lee Jae-man lets Choi Il-hwan take his son ahead, while he will destroy the one who harmed Lee Kang-hoon. Lee Jae-man teams up with Jang Ju-won. The two finally defeat Jae Suk. As he was about to create another sonic wave, Lee Jae-man rushed in with continuous physical impacts. Jang Ju-won broke one of Jae Suk's arms, but Young Dam recovered. As soon as Young Dam recovered, he rushed to attack Jang Ju-won. At the same time, Lee Mi-hyun just walked out and saw Chan-yu dying. He didn't understand why she wanted to kill him. Lee Mi-hyun said she could turn into a monster just to save her son. Because Gildo touched Kim Bong-seok's power bank, he knew who Jang Hee Soo and Kim Bong-seok really were. He accidentally saw Jang Hee Soo, covered in blood, running across the street. She quickly said she had to go to school and ran away. Gildo remembered the man who had been following her, so he drove towards Jungwon's school. Here, Jang Ju-won is attacked by Jung Dam. Jang Ju-won is too lazy to fight him. Jung-dam draws Lee Jae-man's attention to rescue Jae-suk. Jae-suk looks at the person who treated him kindly. Being beaten, he wants to help, but only has one hand left. Recalling the time Kim Dae-hyun wanted to take him on a mission, Jae-suk was afraid of the light, so he kept asking to stay in prison. At that time, Jung-dam avoided the light and persuaded him to go outside. The next time he returned, Jung-dam gave Jae-suk a pair of sunglasses. He had always secretly protected Jae-suk, and now Jae-suk wanted to protect Jung-dam in return. Jae-suk let himself fall out of the window so his other hand could reach the ground. The height from the window to the ground created a shockwave that caused part of the building to collapse. Jang Ju-won was entangled in a steel bar, his hand still holding Lee Jae-man. He kept calling, but Lee Jae-man didn't wake up. Jang Ju-won had to build momentum to jump forward. In the schoolyard, Han Bin and Bo Gum welcomed the teachers, Choi Il-hwan and Lee Kang-hoon. When Lee Jae-man woke up, Jang Ju-won immediately told him to go to his son and not worry about him. Then, he freed himself from the steel bar. As Jang Ju-won climbed up, he was shot in the face. The shooter was Jun Hwan. Lee Mi-hyun immediately shot him and sought cover. She was injured, which impaired her vision. The current situation was quite disadvantageous for Lee Mi-hyun. Amidst the rubble, Jae-suk tried to tell Jung-dam to leave and live as a human. Shortly after, Jae-suk died at the same time. Lee Mi-hyun shot Jun Hwan, but it wasn't enough to cause significant damage. While the two were exchanging fire, Lee Mi-hyun's gun ran out of bullets, leaving her cornered. At this moment, Kim Bong-seok rushed to attack Jun Hwan to save his mother. This scene made Lee Mi-hyun extremely scared and worried. Kim Bong-seok tried his best to fight and wrestle with Jun Hwan, but without anyone else's help, he was quickly subdued by Jun Hwan. Gildo saw the two struggling in the sky. He immediately pressed the accelerator, rammed through the school gate, and rushed into the courtyard to find a way to help Kim Bong-seok. As the car and the two were about to collide, Gildo suddenly turned the steering wheel. Kim Bong-seok quickly turned to avoid the car, and the car eventually flipped over. Kim Bong-seok was also freed, but remained safe. Jun Hwan's bullet took out one of Jang Ju-won's eyes, but it didn't dampen his fighting spirit. Kim Bong-seok was about to fly to grapple with Jun Hwan again, but he pointed his gun at Kim Bong-seok. At this moment, Lee Mi-hyun had also reached the rooftop. She raised her gun towards Kim Da-gyun and silently signaled her son to run away quickly. Kim Bong-seok hesitated, unsure what to do. At this time, Jung-dam was crying and wandering on the street, and he accidentally bumped into Jang Hee Soo. Jang Hee Soo saw his bleeding hand and continued crying, so Jang Hee Soo couldn't bear to leave. She tiptoed and patted Jung-dam's back to comfort him. While the other four and Lee Mi-hyun were struggling, Gildo tried to climb out of the car. Gildo took off his shoes and gloves. Then he touched the battery and charged his body. At this moment, Kim Dae-hyun calmly aimed his gun at Lee Mi-hyun because he knew her gun was out of bullets. Suddenly, Kim Bong-seok lunged at Kim Dae-hyun. At the same time, Jun Hwan fired. In a moment of danger, a lightning ball was thrown to block the bullet for Kim Bong-seok. It also destroyed Jun Hwan's gun grip. Kim Dae-hyun quickly chased Jung Hye-man back to North Korea. Kim Bong-seok rushed over. He instinctively pointed his gun at Kim Bong-seok, but then let go. Lee Mi-hyun and Jang Ju-won took the opportunity to attack Kim Dae-hyun. As a result, Kim Dae-hyun nearly fell. He had to hold onto Jang Ju-won to avoid falling. Lee Mi-hyun quickly asked about her husband's news. When he received the mission, Kim Dae-hyun had asked his superior, "For the past 50 years, South Korea and North Korea have sent many people to spy on each other, which has caused the unjust deaths of many agents and soldiers. But the most dang Chet people are the leaders of both sides. The innocent people who force them to sacrifice are the ones who are guilty." Kim Dae-hyun wanted to end the injustice of his generation because he saw this war as meaningless, so he let go to free himself. When the police arrived in front of the school, they were stopped by security. He gave them his phone to speak with the department head. The purpose was to prevent the police from interfering with what was happening at the school. At this point, Jang Hee Soo had also arrived at school. Previously, the mother had carried Kim Bong-seok. Now it was his turn to carry his mother. Now Kim Bong-seok has truly grown up, and so has Jang Hee Soo. Today is graduation, but Kim Bong-seok did not come. After Jang Hee Soo took a commemorative photo with her father, she returned to the classroom to get her raincoat. Teacher Choi Il-hwan decided to give the documents to someone who could protect them. making him feel more at ease. Although Jang Hee Soo had only recently transferred to the school, she had gone through many things with Kim Bong-seok. Unfortunately, she couldn't see him today. The locker was empty and there was no raincoat. But this made Jang Hee Soo very happy. After graduating, Lee Kang-hoon decided to work for Min Young-jun on the condition that Min Young-jun would clear his father's criminal record. However, Min Young-jun did not agree immediately because he wanted to think about it further. As soon as Lee Kang-hoon left, the two people who entered were the school guard and the bullied girl he had won over. What was particularly noteworthy was that Min Young-jun was very respectful of her. One by one, those involved in the mutant training in the two regions died. The first to be killed was Department Head Kim. Jun-hwan returned to report to his superior. Jun-hwan wanted to know what he would do with that document. He said he wanted to study and use it. Upon hearing this, Jun-hwan drew his gun and shot his superior dead. Then, he went to the prison to release Kim Do-sik so he could return to protect his son. Min Young-jun was the next to be killed. Now the supernaturals could live like normal people. Everything was back to normal. Lee Mi-hyun continued to sell fried meat. Jang Ju-won sold fried chicken and had a new employee. Kim Bong-seok used his powers to save people. He had achieved his childhood dream and his family was reunited. It was a happy ending for the supernaturals. However, those who wanted to exploit the supernaturals still existed. Frank, who was tasked with eliminating the previous generation of supernaturals, was not yet dead. He was believed to be missing, so the Americans sent another mutant to continue the unfinished mission. Today's movie ends here. See you again in the next videos.